Pirates Life Tall Tales are some of the best content in Sea of Thieves. The old Tall Tales are great, but personally I found the new Disney collaboration Tall Tales to be some of the best video game content I've ever experienced. This guide will take you through the first Tall Tale, A Pirate's Life, and it will cover all the journals and every commendation, so if you're having any trouble with that, then stick around and hopefully this video will help you. Obviously, if you want to go into the Tall Tales blind, then this video is something you should avoid. Fair warning, this is a walkthrough video, so spoilers are kind of guaranteed. Just quickly before we get started, if you're not already, then please consider subscribing to my channel. I post regular Sea of Thieves videos with news, guides, and even some funny moments. When you subscribe, if you hit the notification bell as well, you'll be notified when I put up a new video. I also stream on Twitch 3 or 4 evenings a week. The link to that is in the description. It would be nice to see some of you come over there and hang out. Right, let's get into the good stuff. First of all, you want to set off the Tall Tale at the new shack on the outposts. You'll be setting off every Tall Tale in the same way. Once you've voted for the tale, you'll be spoken to by the castaway. She will then open a portal, and then it's time to jump on your ship and sail through the new portal to the Sea of the Damned. Once through the portal, the boat kind of runs on rails, so you don't have to do anything except take it all in at this point. And after a little while, you'll get a cinematic where you leave the Sea of the Damned and you get control of your ship again. You can sail your boat right up to the shoreline here and hop down onto the beach. Just follow the path up to the statue and continue through the tunnels. The first thing you need to do when you get inside is take your Flame of Souls from the fire pit. Once you have this, you're going to have to light a few lanterns throughout this area to open up pathways and doors in order to proceed. The first one's the 2 skeletons either side of the door. Once you're through the next tunnel, you'll find a skeleton on the right holding a lantern. Light this and then drop down to the skeleton in the corner of the room. You have to move his arm to light this lantern. Then just follow the path down to this rowboat. Light a lantern there too, and then after this go back to the main room and the door should open up. You can then follow the path through the tunnels. You'll eventually come to a little platforming area where you have to jump over a gap and then carry on up the path. You then come to a room with some ghosts in the centre. You need to leave that room under the waterfall and grab an oar from the skeleton. You can pick this item up and carry it back to the main room and use that to open the door at the top of the ramp. Then you get to another platforming area which is a bit bigger, and this is where you need to jump over gaps and walk over planks. If you do fall down in this area, you are slowed and you can't jump properly, so you have to find your way back to the beginning and start again if you do fall down. After this area you reach a dock and there's a lantern to light. You'll then find an anchor which you have to raise in order to progress through this area. Raising the anchor will lower a bridge for you to cross. At the end of this bridge you'll find a pulley. Use this to raise a platform to jump across. And after you've crossed this, you'll need to continue down the path and light another lantern at the end. This will allow the ghostly rowboat to progress and will eventually open the pathway forward. You then follow the path through and you find a pile of gold and some more dialogue. You then need to follow the path up and jump across the gaps again. There is also an area where you climb the ladder and you need to use your sword to cut a rope. This drops a platform allowing you to cross. You can then continue to follow the path. You need to use a pulley, move a platform across so you can make the jump. And then there's another bit where you need to use a sword to cut a rope and drop some planks allowing you to cross. Once you've done all that, you just jump into the water and slide down to the next area. Here you'll need to follow the path and light the big beacon. This will open up the gate into the sailor's grave. This is where you'll meet the cursed captain. You'll see him high up in a cage. You need to follow a specific path up and cut him down. Use the ship to your left to start and then follow the path along and over the mast. Down into the water, swim to the end, and then you can use a pulley to raise yourself up on a platform. Once up here, you can use another pulley to move some boxes, allowing you to jump across. Once you've made it to the cursed captain, you can either cut him down with your sword or you can use a lantern to burn the rope. Once you've dropped the captain down, you need to grab the key from the tavern. It's up in the light on the ceiling. You can use a pulley at the back of the tavern to lower the lights, grab the key, take it back to the captain and unlock the cage. Once you've released the cursed captain, you can get on with all the secret commendations. First of all, drop the captain's head back down on the floor, head back into the tavern and up the ramp at the back. Here you'll need to find the table at the back with the first of the cursed captain's journals. Then turn back around and head to the captain's table at the back of the ship. Here you will need to light the candle on the table and you'll be shown some ghosts looking at a map. This map has an X marks the spot clue on it. You will need to then follow the clue and find this spot in the Sailor's Grave. Head back out of the tavern and follow the path I take. It's past the ship with the red sails. You'll eventually get to the spot and find it's already been dug up. You then have to follow this trail of gold and you'll be taken back to a spot underneath the dock near the tavern. Once here, you'll need to dig in the area of visible dirt. You will find that you're digging up a skeleton. This skeleton is called Poor Dougie. Once you've fully dug him up, you need to light the lantern next to him. There is then some dialogue where Dougie tells you that his fellow crew have stolen his treasure and he tasks you with finding it for him. He also says he'll share it with you if you manage to find it. You'll then need to follow this path to a room in the bow of one of the ships in Sailor's Grave. In this room you will find the next cursed captain journal. You then need to head up the stairs to the right and light all the lanterns along the railings. Once you've done this, head back into the room and open the curtains using the pulley on the wall. This will then light up the skeleton who is holding a map with another X marks the spot clue. This clue will show you a spot right outside the tavern to dig. Go back out to the tavern and dig up Dougie's treasure. Once it's fully dug up, head back to the spot where Dougie was and return his treasure. He will then give you a key and you can use this key to open the treasure chest. Inside the treasure chest you will find Poor Dougie's medallion. You need to take this medallion to a room opposite the entrance to the tavern. Once here you can also find the next cursed captain's journal. After you've read the journal, take a look at the table in the room. You can light the candle next to one of the skeletons. Once you have lit the candle, it triggers some dialogue between the skeletons. You're then prompted for Captain Bones' special recipe. You need to follow this path in order to find the recipe. You have to go back up over the ship and mast again, down into the water and up using the pulley. Once up here, you need to jump to a platform, but instead of jumping all the way across this time, you just jump into a cave that's off to the right. You can take the special recipe back to the skeletons now through the gate. Once you give the special recipe to the skeleton, he drinks it and his head will blow off. This then allows you to go and get the cursed captain and bring him into the room. You'll then need to place the medallion on the table first, but you should then be able to place the cursed captain onto the skeleton's body. He will then win the game of chess, and this allows you to pick up the key from the table. Once you have this key, you'll then need to head back over to the pulley lift again, across the ship and across the mast, down into the water, and once here you can raise yourself up with the pulley and open the door to the secret hold. Once you're in here, you can pick up all the gold on the floor. You will also need to locate a pulley at the back of the area in here to move the sails of this ship. You'll see why a bit later. You can then head back over using the platforms and pulleys to make your way back down to the room where you left the cursed captain. Pick him up and you are then ready to proceed to the next part of the tall tale. Just follow the path to the lighthouse. You'll know you're going the right way because the big green lights will light up as you near them. Next up, you just have to wait for a little bit for the captain to ask his crew to raise the bridge. Then follow the bridge and the stairs all the way to the top of the lighthouse. Once you reach the top, you'll find the next Cursed Captain journal. Once you've read the journal, head over to the 2 skeletons. Place the Cursed Captain onto the skeleton with no head. You can then climb the ladder and light the big brazier in the middle of the lighthouse. After you've done this, you can light some of the other braziers across the way using the beam of the lighthouse. However, before you do that, you want to turn the lighthouse beam all the way around towards the area you've just been in. You need to find the ship with the sails that you used a pulley to move. There's a secret brazier hiding behind these sails, but because you moved them earlier, you can now light this brazier. Once you light this, you open up a secret area at the very back of Sailor's Grave. To access this secret area, you need to head all the way back through Sailor's Grave, almost back to the area where you originally entered. You can see the path I'm going on screen now. Once you reach the bridge area that's lit with green lanterns, you know you're in the right place. And when you cross this bridge and enter this area, the music will change and some of you may recognise it. I know I did. There are 5 journals to collect in this area. They're monkey journals, and they are all pretty close to each other. The first journal is next to the skeleton by the wheel. You also need to pick up the key that's in the skeleton's hand. The second journal is on the mast. The third journal is on the lower broken mast. You can then walk around the back of the ship and enter through the locked door. Inside you will find 2 more journals. That completes the Monkey Island Easter egg and the Secret of the Grave Commendation. You can now head back to the lighthouse and continue with the main part of the tall tale. You need to get back up to the lighthouse beam, and this time you need to use the light to light 3 braziers out on the rocks, facing out to sea. When you do this, the Ferry of the Damned is summoned and will glide into the bay and dock. You then need to drop down and talk to the Cursed Captain again. He'll tell you that he has a way for you to get onto the Ferry of the Damned, even though you're still alive. You then have to go to the ship with the red sails, which it turns out is the Cursed Captain's ship. Place his head and the key onto the skeleton body at the door. This will trigger the captain to open the door, and you should then be able to grab his head again with the key and continue into the ship. Once inside, head up to the main captain's cabin area. Inside here, you will also find the final Cursed Captain journal. Place the Cursed Captain's head back onto his body, and again this will trigger some dialogue. He instructs you to depart out the back of his ship and get onto a rowboat. When you do this, you can then sail around the back of the Ferry of the Damned. Once you've docked the rowboat onto the Ferry of the Damned, you will then need to climb up onto the main deck. After the ferryman has spoken to the ghosts, you are able to drop down to the Flame of Fates and try and light it with your Flame of Souls. The ferryman warns you against this, but you do it anyway. After this, the cage below is accessible and you can go down and find the prisoner. There is a lantern on the side of this door that you need to light. And then inside this room there are 2 other lanterns, one there and another behind this sarcophagus lid. Once you've done this, you can follow the way down and through to the prisoner's cell.
The winner gets this delicious bone.
Jack proposes a wager, and you can then take the key from the dog. After releasing Jack, there is quite a bit of dialogue as you follow Jack back up to the top deck of the ship. After a little while of talking between Jack and the ferryman, Davy Jones and the Flying Dutchman appear. You get to use the cannons on the Ferry of the Damned here to shoot the Flying Dutchman. However, this area is very much on rails, so I don't think it's actually possible to fail this. You simply keep shooting the Flying Dutchman, and at one point some sea creatures board the ship. They're one of the new enemy types, and you just fight them off. There are cannonballs below decks and a food barrel. You'll also find an ammo crate on the top deck. This section doesn't really require much more explanation as you're kind of led through it. After a little while, Jack will fall off the boat, and the ferryman will tell you that you need to go back to the land of the living to save Jack and the Sea of Thieves. That's it, that's the tale complete. You just run through the door on the Ferry of the Damned and you're back on your boat, and you can then just watch the show as you sail on autopilot back to the Sea of Thieves. Please consider subscribing to my channel. I post regular Sea of Thieves videos with news, guides, and even some funny moments. I also stream on Twitch 3 or 4 evenings a week. The link to that is in the description. It would be nice to see some of you come over there and hang out. Thank you very much for watching.